TLC, the last show of the year. Now, as far as I understand, the tapings are supposed to already started, or they're going to start showing the tapings. I'm not exactly sure when they're going to start doing the tapings or when they're going to start recording the tapings. It might be this week. I could be wrong. You guys tell me below. As far as I know, this week is when the tapings start. When we start seeing recorded content after today. But you guys tell me below if I'm right or wrong. But what do we get in this show? For me personally, mildly boring. I'm sorry. And that's giving it a lot of leeway here. Because of certain matches that happened, it was mildly boring. If those matches were not there, this would be a totally boring show. It would be boring. And understand, there were three major reasons for me personally. The first one was to build for the wrestlers. When it comes to the feuds, many of them were so weak, it was not even a care to even watch the matches, even when most of them were done pretty good. Then, the crowd. Most of that crowd in San Jose, California, were mostly dead. There was a little bit of interest, but it was mostly dead. In some cases, they even started talking boring or doing NXT. At least until the best matches showed themselves. And then finally, which clinched it for me to see that this was a boring show, the WWE weren't even caring about it. You know why? For me, when I used to watch reality of wrestling, one of the major problems I had was the production quality. And it was the camera work. It was not being able to know who the people's names were, because sometimes you may not hear them due to the fact of bad mic or bad audio, and you need to see their names when they didn't show it. That was one of the things I couldn't stand about reality wrestling, which I'm actually considering the next couple of weeks to watch, because I really don't want to watch recorded content from the WWE. I really don't. Unless I'm going to do an overview of it, not a full review. Unless you guys want me to do a full review of SmackDown Live, you guys tell me. Because I may just do an overview of SmackDown Live, make it quick, my quick thoughts, and that would be the end of it. But I used to get frustrated with reality wrestling, and when I saw this show, the production truck and the cameramen seemed to not have any interest, because they were not even in the right positions. They did not do the right checks and transitions between the ring to the outside. It was so freaking sloppy that I thought I was looking at reality wrestling at one point, because I couldn't see the people's faces. The camera work was so bad, they didn't even know when to pull back, when to go forward, and they had time. So that really clinched it for me to know this was boring. So when it came to the special matches, it brought it up enough that this was mildly boring. So let's go into the kickoff, which was an hour to an hour and a half of nothing until we saw the Cruiserweight Championship. You couldn't put it on the main show. You couldn't put what happened with Natalya and Ruby Riott on the kickoff, and you couldn't put the Cruiserweights on the main show. I'm sorry. I'm just saying. Well, here's the thing. This is what got me about this match. It wasn't that it was a bad match. Honestly, it didn't feel like a Cruiserweight match. This did not feel like a Cruiserweight match. One, because the crowd wasn't 100% behind it. Two, the camera work was horrendous. I couldn't even see most of the action in the ring. They didn't even do a full ring shot. You know what I mean? Like, they have a camera that's already been set up that you can see the spectators, the ring, and the people inside. They don't even have to be that close, like they're looking at the face. You can see them. We didn't even get that. Whatever shots you've been seeing is what I was able to grab. That was horrid. But what made it worse was the match really didn't feel like a Cruiserweight match. It felt like a match that was slowed down purposely. Now, I'm not blaming Buddy Murphy and not blaming Cedric Alexander. I just had this feeling that they were told to be slow. Or maybe they were frustrated and they just were doing it slow. It doesn't mean the match was bad. It just didn't feel like a Cruiserweight match. In the end, I didn't expect Cedric Alexander to win. But I did expect that Buddy Murphy would at least look better. It just didn't feel like he was a Cruiserweight. He just didn't feel it. That's just me. Now, we had the main show. Let me see, am I forgetting anything? Becky had an interview on the kickoff, which was okay. Then we had, what is that? Wait a minute. Oh yeah, sorry, almost forgot because I was getting so bored I was beginning to fall asleep. So my handwriting's a little blurred. But when it came to Elias versus Bobby Lashley, and I forgot the guy's name, Leo. But that, what was that? A ladder match that was supposed to go for a guitar? A guitar. Where is something there's a consequence? No consequence. The match was about getting a guitar that belonged to Elias. And worse yet, Elias wins, but then he doesn't win because he gets his guitar destroyed on his back. What? It felt so empty. There was nothing there, no benefit, no consequence, except for people to watch Lashley bend over and show his ass cheeks. Now, let's move on to the first match on the main card of TLC. Let's make it very clear. It's understandable why they put this in the opening. At first, I was thinking, why they put it here? They couldn't put it on the kickoff. But then knowing that there was going to be a stipulation that whoever won their prospective male and female, they would go into the Royal Rumble and be the last ones there. Now, Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox versus R-Truth and Mella. I'm calling her Mella, not Carmella anymore. I'm just calling her Mella. Mella has titty. Mella is beautiful. I'm sorry to say titty. Basically, I'm going to put it like this. When it comes to R-Truth and Carmella, I'm only saying it just as once her name. They did win me over in the respect that they are a very good dynamic together as a comedy team. Since we do not have Breezango anymore, the Fashion Police, they've taken up the slack, and I do like seeing R-Truth in this position. I enjoyed it. I would love to see Truth TV come back. Not doing those little 7-second segments of them coming out when someone else is doing something new, a dance in the ring. I've not said anything about it because it pisses me off. But, in this respect, knowing that these two were getting this opportunity, actually I'm alright with it. Yes, I know Carmella's not good. I know that if she won the damn title, it would suck. But, as long as she's working with R-Truth, and she doesn't win, people like her. People have been liking R-Truth for a decade. People love R-Truth. I loved R-Truth in 2011 when he turned heel. And in this situation, I like to see that R-Truth actually gets an opportunity he's never gotten since he joined the WWE, in 2008 or 9? I don't remember when he joined. I don't remember. It's been a long time since R-Truth has been part of the WWE. He's been there a long time. So getting this opportunity, even if it's just a joke opportunity, is special. Now, the match is not the point here. The point is that Carmella and R-Truth won the match. And knowing that R-Truth is the 30th pick in the Royal Rumble is something different. We always know it's always a special person who always does it, either Roman Reigns, a Randy Orton, a Big Show, a Batista, or Undertaker, a John Cena, or somebody else. This time it's R-Truth. And I know a lot of people are not going to give a damn, but I'm saying it because it is a good thing, at least for me personally. Mella, look, if I had an opportunity to meet the actual woman, to talk to her, as far as I understand, she's really sweet. I married a woman. She's a damn good looking woman and she's pretty smart. Yes, I said it. She's decently smart. Being in the ring, she's not. I'm repeating that again. Being in the ring, she's not good. Outside, normal life, she's probably a damn smart woman and she's gorgeous. Who wouldn't want to be with her? She's damn beautiful. But when it comes to this, knowing that she's the 30th, I'm just hoping they're not stupid enough to throw the title back onto her. and get that WrestleMania moment, because she really doesn't deserve it in this situation, in this time of her career. She's better as a manager, like what she's doing with R-Truth. I repeat that again. As she's working with R-Truth, she's better off like in a managerial role. That's where she belongs. Not because she can't wrestle, but because she's better that way. Now, let's move on to number 2. Triple threat for the SmackDown Tag Belts. Bar, Usos, New Day. One of the matches of the night. It took a while to build up. I have to admit that. It was a bit slow at first. But by the middle near the end, it was very good. But here's the thing. Bar retains. I said this months ago. The Bar should have won months and months ago. When it transferred over to SmackDown Live, they should have gotten the titles. They should have been given that opportunity, because now, as champs, they're flat. You know why? Because they've already gone through the Usos. They've already gone through New Day. And who's left that has been pushed, that has been given an opportunity? Nobody. Sanity's doing absolutely nothing. The Colognes are doing absolutely nothing. I believe that the Ascension is on Raw. I can't even remember if they're on Raw or not. I don't even remember. When it comes down to it, the tag title system is dead in both brands. Because you got Raw that has absolutely nothing going on with their brand. And then you got SmackDown that legitimately only has 3 teams, and they face each other so many times. No matter how much chemistry they have, it's boring because we've seen it so many times. There's only so much you can do. And right now, the only ones that could have been the best to get the titles were the Usos. You know why? Because they work with who? They work with AJ Styles, they work with Daniel Bryan, and they beat them multiple times, and you would expect them to at least get the titles, and they didn't. So let's move on. Alright, before I forget this, Vince will be on Monday Night Raw. Now, I will probably watch that. I want to see what Vince is going to do. I'm not going to do a review of Raw, but at least I will look at Raw to see what Vince is going to say and do, and how many boos people are going to get, because if they're smart, they realize what Baron Corbin has been saying is what Vince wanted people to know. Fuck you, I don't care about you, I'm going to run Raw the way I want. I'm just hoping it gets really bad. We hate you heat, not like heel heat, we just hate you. But this is what we got. Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman with Heath Slater as the referee, the ref. You would expect that it would have just been simple to just have a ringer for, well, let's make it clear. Since it was a no DQ match, you could have anyone fill in for Braun Strowman. He could have stayed outside, and that would have been the end of it. But what did you get? You get the tag champs. You get Apollo Crews. You get, who else did you get? You got Finn Balor, then you got Heath Slater himself, and who else did we actually get to come out that helped out? Everybody and their mother came out and beat the crap out of Baron Corbin, and in the end, Braun Strowman, as you see him in my face, just putting his foot on the man, got the win. Now the crowd was semi-happy. But let's be honest, what did we really get from that? I didn't even care. Now, mind you, I want to say this clearly about Baron Corbin. I gotta say this. I used to love Baron Corbin as the Lone Wolf. When he went to Raw, he just got buried. And then when he became this, general manager-elect, I'll only say one thing. His mic skills had improved. Not saying it was great, just improved. Not substantially, but to a certain extent. So at least this experience gave him something that he really needed. He was never great on the mic. So being forced, I repeat this, forced to be general manager where he had to talk, he had to start learning how to talk a little better. Now, he's here. Well, he was here when he first became general manager. He went up a little bit. From here to here. Not much. He's not from here to here. Not here to here. It's not that. But I will say at least he did try to improve, but maybe by 5 to 10%. I give him that. Next, the tables match between Natalya and Ruby Riott that could have been on the kickoff show. I would have rather seen the Cruiserweight title be put here than be on the kickoff show. It was stupid. Look, I've heard what people said about Natalya's dad being exploited. And the WWE has been doing this for years. In some form or fashion, they take somebody. Do you guys remember what happened with Ric Flair's son being involved in a situation with his daughter? Do you guys remember that? I don't even remember the one who was doing it. I think it was, Alexa Bliss, who was doing something about that. But honestly, they've been doing this for a while. And I'm not condoning it. There are certain times it could work. If you do it with the proper respect and you do it in the proper context of the feud. Where in this situation, it didn't work. Look, using Natalya's dad's glasses, I'm going to do in quotes, dad's glasses, sunglasses, having them broken, didn't mean anything. Now, if she just came out in his original jacket and she tore that, or she went to the WWE's, headquarters, like R-Truth and Carmella going, Mella's going, I'll marry Mella, she's damn cute. Anyway, if she had gone there and there was any posters that were up, like a Hall of Fame portrait of the, Jim, if he was portrayed in that respect at the headquarters and Ruby Riott went there with the Riott Squad and destroyed the picture, that would have made more sense if they had gone to where a mannequin was, where Natalya had donated not only his glasses but his jacket, his tights, and Ruby Riott went there and destroyed them. That would make sense. A pair of glasses never did. And then when you see his picture on a table, it didn't really make any really substantial difference to the match. Then worse, during the match, when Liv Morgan got put through a table, when Sarah Logan got put through a table, you now see Natalya, after putting those two through a table, she goes under the ring, pulls out a table that looks like, that has Ruby Riott's image on it. That does not help. Wait, you know what? I should back up. Let's back up a little bit, because this really pissed me off. This sucked so bad. Not because it was disrespectful to a dad. It just, the entire thing sucked. First, Natalya came out smiling instead of being angry. That was the first thing that told me this was going to suck. Seeing Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan both being put through a table at different times made me realize this was going to suck. Then seeing that table, it's in my face. I knew it was going to suck. By the end of it, I didn't expect Natalya to lose. And she didn't. And in the end, Ruby Riott went through the table. I'm not even going to say whatever else was going on in the match, because there's no point in it. It sucked. It had no meaning. It had no cohesion. It just sucked. Let's move on, because it took me longer than I expected. Alright, AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan. Now, I didn't know how to feel about this match, because I have not felt right about Daniel. When it comes down to Daniel Bryan, I just didn't really have a strong interest in him because of how badly booked he was. He was not booked as an underdog. And that just didn't work for me. Now he's a pretty good heel. Interesting. I'm enjoying him. But then the problem is, what after AJ's going to happen? The only person that they built has been AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. Who else is Daniel Bryan going to be dealing with? It's not going to be Samoa Joe. It's not going to be Shinsuke Nakamura. It's not going to be Jeff Hardy. It's not going to be Rey Mysterio. I mean, you could say yes with Rey, and I'll get to him in a minute. But no one has been built on SmackDown Live other than those two. And then when you see this situation, what happened with Daniel Bryan pretty much doing a lot of head screwing with AJ Styles, which I was alright with. I enjoyed it. I'm glad to see that he was trying to be a good heel. Now, mind you, at one point when he started acting like, please stop, that pissed me off. Because, as I said before, I don't want to see him a chicken heel. I don't. Every time when anyone becomes a chicken shit heel, they suck. Now, I'm not happy when they do things like that. I don't mind them being underhanded. I don't mind them being conniving and sneaky. But being cowardly, it doesn't work for me. And that's when the match went downhill for me. In the end, you have AJ losing and Daniel Bryan winning. Now, what does this mean? I don't know. Because there's no one left for them to work with, because no one's been built in the main title scene. Samoa Joe hasn't been built. Particularly next to him working with Jeff, he hasn't been built very well. And now that leaves me to Ray and Randy Orton. The chairs match, which I felt should have a title. This should have had some type of stipulation, not only about being with chairs, it's about being with a title. I think if they were allowed to work and have the US title to be contending against, it would mean something. Even if Randy had to lose or Ray had to win, at least it would mean something. Now, how was the fighting with the chairs? Wasn't bad, and Ray did some very nasty moves, particularly sliding on his stomach, going outside the ring, and landing on, oh man, I don't know how that's got to feel. Ray's maybe about my weight, maybe 160, 150. No, I'm like 180, so I'm a little bit more heavier than he is. But even with that, once after about 5 seconds you begin to accelerate, your weight goes up. So he could have easily reached my weight before he hit Randy in the sternum with that chair in his own mass. So that had to hurt. In the end, with several moves you've been watching, Ray wins. So the only person I can see that could be capable of doing something going into Royal Rumble must be Ray. Unless you're going to keep doing this with AJ, which kind of makes no sense. AJ's done. He should be doing something else. Because what else is he going to do? It would be good if he went away for about a couple of weeks or maybe a month and then came back. And then by Royal Rumble you could reset him into another gear or something. Because he's been going all out and now he needs a refresh. Now, Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose for the IC title, which was, unfortunately for me, the most boring match of the night. I know many people say, you crazy? These guys worked their asses off, they went all out. Now, I'm not saying they were not doing great match quality. Don't get me wrong. But there were several things that was an issue here. The first one, the crowd was not feeling it at one point. In the beginning, they were cheering for Seth. But during the beginning, going to the middle, it dropped like a rock. And it stayed there. Only very rarely did they even speak saying burn it down when Seth was trying to get them to be interested. At one point, they were saying, hey, this is boring. Boring. NXT. And then they went quiet again. You don't want a crowd to be generally quiet. You can hear rumbling in the background. But they were quiet. No boos, no cheers, just rumbling. That is bad for a match. That's dead. And the majority of the time, that's how it felt. Second thing, the camera work was horrendous. Like I said, the camera work throughout the night was so bad, it was like an amateur show. So you couldn't see everything that was going on at home. The crowds were able to see it, but we couldn't. Next, Renee Young. What was the point? What was the point of having Corey Graves mess with Renee Young if she was not going to turn and be with her man? What should have happened is that when Seth came to a certain point where she was going to really hurt Dean, she should have got up from her chair and stand in front of Seth, keeping Dean from getting hurt. If she had been involved in this match in any form or function, it would have been 10 times better. And she was not. She was trying to be neutral, which does not work. I don't give a damn if they don't want their relationship to be, in a sense, involved in a storyline. In this case, they needed it. They needed it. Without Renee by Dean's side, this was boring. It was like, it was a joke. In the end, Dean won, but what did he win? Nothing. I don't even see anything special with the IC title with him. What is he, a third time champ? Means nothing. Zero without Renee. It was boring. Now, let's see here. That's it. Didn't care. Exactly what I said. Now, let's move on. Let me make sure I got everything because I don't want to forget anything because I don't want to let you guys down. Ronda Rousey versus Nia Jax. Okay, where do we start here? Now, I want to say this clearly. Even though it's been under a year for her being in the WWE and being active, Ronda has improved her ring work, and I commend her. Here's the problem. You look at Nia Jax, she's still too green. She really is not that good. And it was Ronda who was carrying that match. She was pulling off all the major moves. In fact, at one point, unfortunately, I couldn't grab that image. I think I got her already punching her in the face when she literally jumped up, landed her right foot on, let me put it like this. To actually jump up in the air, put your foot on someone else's thigh so you'll be able to be tall enough to whack them in the face. That is not a small feat. She managed to do that. And I gotta say that I commend, that was lovely. That was a lovely strike. She was the one that was making that match. And guess what? She shouldn't be the one making that match because since Nia is the more professional of the two, she should be the one to lead the match. She should have made the match look more substantial, and she didn't. And then there's Tamina. And let me make this very clear. I still believe Tamina should have won the title once. I'm going to keep saying that until she does win it. Because it's not the point that she's one of the best people to slice bread, or I'm in love with her, I want to have 10 children with her. It's the point she's been there long enough. She's been there as long as Natalya. Natalya has been at least a 3-time champ. And you couldn't even give Tamina Snuka a transitional championship once. Now, mind you, if she does win the title with Nia Jax, then I'll ease off and let it go. But until then, she's never won a title, and she has not generally hurt anyone. Now, is she boring? Yeah. But guess what? If you know how to actually book someone, no matter if they're boring or not, you can make them work. Look what happened with Bob Backlund. Look what happened with Bret Hart. You can always make someone interesting if you know how to book them right. Tommy Dreamer wasn't even interesting until Paul Heyman booked him properly and then made him substantial. I don't understand what's wrong with people thinking the woman doesn't know how to do a damn thing. If you know how to book someone who's not very great, they can be wonderful. It just... Now, let's move on again. Let's go to... This is a match I didn't care about either. That could have been a kickoff show. That's Drew versus Finn. Now, I admit, I had to go to the bathroom at one point. Near the end. So I didn't see Dolph save Finn. I didn't. What I did see was pretty much a boring match due to the fact you didn't have Finn Balor, the Demon. In this situation, you needed Finn Balor, the Demon. Not just Finn who smiles. And then after the match was over, and then Dolph comes over to Finn and then says, "You're welcome. I did this for you. I saved you. Be lucky." And then they start fighting one another. So that means we're going to have Finn Balor versus Dolph Ziggler now. Two guys that could have been used in some form or fashion, could have had something substantial, And I'm not even a Finn Balor fan. And they're not huge... Dean... you see I'm getting the names mixed up because it makes me angry that you got good talent in a Finn and Dolph Ziggler. You don't have to make them the top guys. You can make them substantial and interesting, but you're doing nothing with them. This is what you get. Now, am I forgetting anything? No. Final match of the night, which is the best match of the night. Charlotte versus Asuka. Sorry. Charlotte versus Asuka versus Becky. Now, the crowd was going apeshit for Becky. And I don't blame them. Becky had managed to do something that not many people can do. You were given a very boring, bland, nothing character. And then you turn it around and piss off the brass in the back to force them to make you interesting and special. I'm very happy for her. Then you got Asuka, who's been screwed lovely, who is built so lovely. And then you got Charlotte, who pretty much has gotten 7 reigns. 7 reigns. If she had won the title, it would have been 8. 7 title reigns that have gone nowhere. She won the freaking title on SmackDown and Raw 7 times and has gained nothing. That's what we had in this match. You had someone who is one of the most loved but was not liked by the brass. You got one who pretty much was built up incredibly well and then buried by the brass in the back. And then you got the one the brass wanted and has not accomplished anything by herself. She had to need her friends and then she had to need her dad. So when she's been by herself, you haven't gotten anything. And these are the 3 people that was in this TLC match. And it worked. The match was well done. The majority of the match was done by Charlotte, which I felt was a good decoy. Not because she's the best one that can wrestle. She's not. Asuka's better than her. Becky's better than her. You know why? Because they can adapt to anyone they wrestle. That's the reason why Charlotte can only work with Becky, Bayley, Sasha, Asuka. Even to a certain extent, Ronda. Because Ronda is at least a very well-versed judo and martial artist, mixed martial artist. At least she knows how to do certain things because she's been trained to. You put Charlotte to anyone that she doesn't know, she freaking sucks. Because her dad's moves don't work for her. And when she does her own, because she hasn't been practicing them, she's worse. But they did make her do the majority of the match. And I'll say this, and I'm not being sexist, but why, Charlotte? Look, I love women's breasts. I love them. They're beautiful. They're lovely to touch. They're lovely to hold. Both sexes love them. Both women love women's breasts. Both men love women's breasts. But why do you keep wearing tops that are so revealing that it looks like your breast is about to pop out of them? She needs to be more conservative with her clothing. Honestly, she should. I'm just being honest because as much as I love seeing breasts, it can be a distraction from the match. Because particularly when it came to the camera and you can see in my face how many times these guys focus on her breast. Where's Charlotte? There's Charlotte's breast and then that's it. But in the end, you got Ronda Rousey coming out and then pretty much Asuka gets the title. Now, mind you, I'm not against that. I'm glad that Asuka won finally. But what does this really mean for Asuka? I'm going to be honest here. What does this actually mean? Of course, Becky can get a rematch and she could win it back. She could. Unless it's going to be Charlotte and Becky challenging each other to try and get the chance to be against Asuka. Unless Asuka is going to have matches with the other women on the roster, it's going to be boring very quickly having only Charlotte and Becky. Because you got other women on that roster. You got Naomi. You got Lana. You got The remaining women there, the Iconics. You need more women to be challenging on that show. And if it's only going to be Charlotte and Becky, as much as people love Becky, it's going to get boring really quickly. So unless they're going to let the other women deal with Asuka, this is going to be really bad for her. I don't see anything other than interim win for her. That means she's going to be interim champion. And she doesn't deserve that. She deserves at least a good reign with that title. At least 4, 5, or 6 months with it. Not 2 months before she's got to drop it because nobody wants to see without Becky or without Charlotte. But this is just me. This show was boring. Except for the few things, even though I'm going to put mildly boring, it was mostly boring. It was boring. Only a few things interest me, and it was boring. You see, I'm botching because it makes me angry to say it was boring. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.